Amen. Welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, we are going to be firing up for the first time this U.S. Stove / Ashley / Vogelzang 3200 AWEP or whatever. There's 3 different names for it. Conveniently, there's a sticker on the back with a check mark for each of the different ones depending on what you want to call it, but it's 3 of the exact same stove. And I've heard that there's some fumes that kind of come off of the thing on this first fire, and it's a little tricky to get started, and getting to learn a wood stove is half the battle. They all have their little quirks and settings with the air intake and how to get it to burn at specific temperatures and whatnot. So we're going to try that out today. Welcome to Man Time. Real quick before we get started here, I just wanted to show you the sticker on the back here. It's got right up here the different model types that this exact same stove is capable of being. So you've got, I guess, 4 really. You got the TR007E-P, and then the AW, which is going to be your Ashley. You got VG, which is going to be your Vogelzang, and then the U.S. Stove Company. But essentially, not essentially, it's the exact same stove. So there you go. But there's a specific thing in the instruction manual on the exact size of the fire that you want to start on this first fire. But I just grabbed like a bunch of kind of smaller stuff, and we'll just, I want to put one kind of right over that center firebox thing there. But you want to have basically a slower burn and a lower temperature on this first fire. The reason for that is going to be these bricks have moisture in them, and if you heat up these bricks too quickly, they're going to start popping and crackling. But this is the way it came set up. But there was all of the base stuff in here. Thin sheet metal that they call the base for this thing. I don't even know how it's going to support the weight of this thing, honestly. But I'm going to do the typical top-down method and just using some wood chunks here that I had kind of laying around. And it's going to be a pretty small fire, so I don't want too much in there before I start getting my paper in there. So we're going to start about there, and then I'm going to start loading up paper. That in there. I think that might actually do it for the first fire. You probably aren't supposed to have it just on the pallet that it came in. There's some amount of distance you want to have it from combustibles, obviously, but I've got it just sitting on the cold ground here. You do want to make sure to find all of the gel packs that are in there. I found 3 of them, so we'll get it lit off here and see how it goes. Yeah, for these, I think you want all the way in to get that drafting up. Yeah, and you can already see the smoke coming out the top there. That's what we're going to want. And I don't care if it comes out the front or the top or whatever. I just want it to start burning. Yeah, I ended up printing out the sheet that shows how to dampen. You've got control lever A, left-hand side, primary air, and then secondary air. You want both of those opened up. So we'll try it closed with both of those open and see where we end up. Yeah. Oh, there's our air wash. Nope, I closed it too quick, didn't I? So we'll just leave it cracked. Make sure we get it good and started here. So it's going all right. On this printout, it does actually show, the first fire up, and it says for a cold start, 4 to 5 pieces of newspaper in the firebox. On top of the newspaper, lay 5 pounds of kindling in a random placement. On top of the kindling, place another 6.5 pounds of small pieces of cordwood. Use smaller pieces of wood during startup. So there you go. 6.5 pounds. That's pretty much what I got. And then the control slide's fully open now. I don't know if the draft is coming straight up from under or where the intake of the air is on this thing. I think it's from below, and that may be why when I close the door it just immediately goes to shutting down, because it doesn't really have, that draft of air coming in from the bottom like it's supposed to, due to sitting on the pallet. But, yeah. Seems to be working pretty good so far. See if I can see the air intake on this thing. Well, there's nothing actually in contact with the pallet, so I think I should be able to kind of close it up and see where we're at here. No, just immediately goes to dying out. I need to give it a minute here to fully catch. Just let it go with the door open for a while here. Well, here we are after 15 minutes, and you can see I was kind of messing with it off and on. But I've got both of the air, the primary and the secondary air, fully open, and getting this thing to maintain a fire is almost impossible. I can see why there were some bad reviews on this thing. And to get it to light, I mean, you've got to basically leave the door open. And there's no way to crack it open just a little bit, so it seems like it's going to be letting smoke kind of into the house. Yeah. You can see this smoke here is coming out from the door when I open it. So it's not drafting You know, I guess having a stovepipe on there helps it draft a little bit, but I mean, yeah. It's just not letting a whole lot of air in there. But yeah, for the paint curing process, that's all right here. First burn, 250 degrees for 20 minutes. Second burn, same, and then, let's see here, third burn should be 500 degrees for 20 minutes. Cross ventilation to clear any smoke or odor caused by the initial firings. But I'm curious what it would do if I just closed the door. I mean, it's fully lit, right? Like, everything in there is a nice hot coal bed. So yeah, we'll just close the door all the way. Both the vents are fully opened, and we'll see what happens here. Yeah, it just slowly dies out to basically nothing, and then immediately starts smoking out of the stack here. But yeah, this is all like good and warm. Maybe you're not supposed to be actually... Oh, there's the flames, so there's one of the air intakes, I guess, is coming in from the front here, and then of course you got your secondary up there. But it is actually letting some fresh air in there at this point. But yeah, it just doesn't look like it's doing anything. I'm going to leave it here and see if it continues to burn. Come back in about 20 minutes and see where we're at. Yeah, there's the door fully closed. Well, here is, after about another 20 minutes. So we've been burning now for 45, 50-ish minutes, maybe close to an hour. But here's the main problem I see with the thing. It has heated up pretty nice. And, I mean, it's still, you know, smoking out of the top. But when you open the door, even with these fully open, right, all the way in is, according to the manual, fully open. Let's see if we can avoid smoke coming out of the front of it here. There you can see the coals have lit back up. There we go. There we got our draft. Okay. There is minimal smoke pouring out of the front here. Now that it's lit back up. We're in the process of lighting back up. I guess you got to hold it cracked for a little bit longer than you might with some other stoves, because it's, yeah, smoke coming out of the front here. All right, now I've got it opened up to about 2-inch. And no smoke. That's good. Handle didn't get real hot. Nice hot bed of coals now. So there you have it. The fire didn't go out, but there wasn't any sort of visible, you know, rolling fire with both of the air dampeners fully open and the door fully closed. But it actually came up to temp, and it is a nice temp. But yeah, if you close it back down with a full bed of coals like that, you would expect it to continue to have kind of a rolling fire inside of there. And there's just not, you know. And there's no way to really crack the door just a little bit, like without the door potentially popping open. There I've got it opened, I mean just a crack between the rope and the door frame, and there is some visible kind of flames coming through there now. It is kind of toasty warm. Well, I did end up getting it all the way up to temperature, and it did maintain, you know, a fire with both of the dampeners all the way opened and the door completely closed. It is actually pretty nice and warm. And I read some reviews on this where there was like some runaway issues and some things with the upper fire blanket that may have caused that. But the big problem here is in the instructions on how to get the pedestal or the base on there. You actually have to flip the thing up, and this is no paperweight. I think it's close to 200 pounds, somewhere's right around there, and it says use a minimum of 2 to 3 people to set it down and then pick it back up and put it on the pedestal. I've got an idea for that since this is, and that is nice and warm. I was going to tap on it. Since this is all steel, I've got a magnetic hoist thing that I think I'm going to be able to use to get this thing on its back. There's 2 screws you need to loosen up before you set it on its back. Set it on its back, attach the pedestal, and then lift it back up and set it down. I think I'm going to set it down kind of in place of where it's going to be going. But yeah, there's going back to the reviews. Some people were saying they were having a problem with a runaway. Other people were saying they couldn't get the thing to stay lit because in both cases there was issues with the primary secondary air dampening system on this thing, and I'm seeing that same thing. I almost ordered another one because I saw that they had a sale on the Vogelzang model. Now on U.S. Stove Company's website, they've got all 3 of these listed, right? So you can get the U.S. Stove Company brand sometimes from Tractor Supply. You can get the Ashley one from sometimes the big box stores, and then the Vogelzang one sometimes through Northern Tool. And it just so happened that Northern Tool had a sale on the Vogelzang model for $1,200. So that's the going rate on these. Any model type, Ashley, Vogelzang, or U.S. Stove Company, $1,200 is the going rate. Stepping up from this to $1 at the time seemed like not that big of a jump, but the actual price that you're supposed to be paying on this being $1,200, it's a huge jump going from $1,200 to $3,000 plus. And on the buck ones, a lot of times I saw that they didn't even come with the pedestal. That was an additional like $300 or something crazy. I was just like, wow. And then of course the Blaze King, that one is only available through specific retailers, right? Like a licensed retailer, kind of like Steel used to be with a specific lawn and garden shop, like a specific hearth and home type of business would be the only place that you could get a Blaze King, and being in the South, that's just not an option. But so there we go. That was my first fire up of the Ashley 3200. But yeah, seems to be working fairly well, and yeah, I purchased it, so I'm going to run it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. If not, do whatever you want to do there. But whatever you do, get out there, have you some man time too.